What's going on, traders? Just another recap on today's trades. I do want to give a shout out to all the members that participated in today's event. Our group chat right now for TechBud Solutions is experiencing some technical difficulties. It looks like we're having some just errors when it comes to sending and receiving messages, so we'll try to get that resolved as soon as possible. It might be just because we're overloading the group chat, just because of the amount of members that we do have within the main group chat of TechBud Solutions. So I do apologize for that. So I'll reach out to GroupMe and try to get that resolved as soon as possible. I do want to let you guys know, if you guys haven't done so already, the link is provided for you down below. If you guys would like to be a part of TechBud Solutions, the link is provided for you down below. And you simply, once you get accepted into the group, you click right here on the pinned post. And in the pinned post, it will tell you the group chat rules, which I want to make sure that you guys all acknowledge and agree to. Once in doing so, there are a series of hyperlinks that will allow you to join the different series of group chats that can best fit your needs. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Ended up trading a total of 3 different stocks today. Ended up trading INNL twice today. I stop lossed out my second trial with INNL. Pretty much I did shout this one out during our pre-market movers group chat, and the reason why was because obviously of this huge just gap that it had after market hours, right? So today, April 5th, it did end up, following yesterday's huge spike after hours. So what that means is yesterday it closed right around this like 195 area, ended up hitting highs of about a little bit over 320, and then started making its way back down. So it peaked out, and pretty much all this action happened either aftermarket or pre-market hours. So having something like Robinhood Gold will definitely be useful to be able to trade within these time frames, right? But in doing so, because it has so much volume and because it saw so much growth, it's going to have a lot of attention and a lot of hype. And us as day traders want to make sure that we can catch this. And although it did break the support, the reason there's a support at 240 was because that was a previous resistance. And what I mean by that is right as it broke above 240, it spiked on up, and as it was coming down, ended up bouncing twice on the support at 240, and then this third time just ended up bleeding right through. Ended up hitting lows of 195, and that's ideally, where we decided to buy in. And what I mean by that was, if you get a little bit closer, there was a resistance at 195 after market hours as of yesterday. And once it broke above the 195, there was a huge spike up to 240. So we know there's an area of trading or potential around $2 to 240, nearly 20% profit. So in doing so, I ended up jumping in right as it bounced. Wanted to make sure that there was upward momentum. I could have got in at $2, ended up getting in at 220, making sure that with my TD Ameritrade mobile trader, it showed signs of upward momentum, meaning that it was actually seeing a good steady growth. And in doing so, I jumped on in at 220, ended up stop lossing out at 240. And what I mean by that is, as soon as it went above 240, I put my stop loss at 240 because I knew that was a resistance, therefore a good sell point. And then with that trade alone, I was able to lock in a good amount of profit. I tried to give it a second try, and once I did, I was waiting for it to break above 240. And when it did, I jumped on in, hit highs of about 250, and then came back down, and I stop lossed out. Overall, my stop loss did not kick in where I wanted it to. It actually ended up kicking in 3 cents lower than my initial stop loss. And the reason behind that, and I know a good amount of you have experienced that, is due to the increase or the amount of volume that this stock was seeing. So right as I put my stop loss at $2.39, I actually stop lossed out at $2.37. And my stop loss was actually at $2.39.9. Therefore, it was nearly at 40 cents, and it still took me nearly 3 cents or 0.029 to actually trigger with that stop loss. But overall, ended up getting out and then ended up hitting that same support that it did right as market open, and that is at that 195 support line. As it was seeing that upward momentum, ended up hitting highs of 230 and then continued to bleed back down. Altogether, with my loss and gain, I made a little bit over $235 worth of profit and 10 cents with INL. And definitely, it was a decent trade. Obviously, I could have ridden it from $2 to $2.40, but I wanted to make sure that I got in at a good price, and I didn't want to jump on in at like $2 and then stop loss right out. So I wanted to see that upward momentum. I could have worked a little bit better on my entry point and got in a little bit lower, and that's just something to look forward to within the next couple of days. Now with DRYS, ended up doing not as well as I wanted to. My alert started triggering when it went below $1.10. We got an alert that it went above 120, which was weird, because right as the market opened, it hit highs of 122, which was pretty weird. I actually thought we were going to see it, ride all the way up, and then end up kicking all the way back down, hitting lows of, I believe, 106. came back up, but I actually traded it in this area right here. I got in at 110 and then it hit highs of 115. Thanks to the group chat and thanks to one of our members that was actually, I had access to it, which is level 2, which shows you the ask and the bid. There's huge sellers at 115, meaning that there was a higher demand or a higher or lower demand than there were sellers. Therefore, most likely we're not going to break 115. And doing so, since I noticed that, ended up just putting my stop loss at 114, got stop loss right away, and then it fell all the way back down to lows of 106. From this 106 hit highs of 112, therefore that 6-cent profit, that's nearly 6% profit. So it definitely did have, a good amount of potential, but it's not seeing much volume or much movement anymore. DRYS usually does very well when it sees large amounts of volume, and this is just one that we're going to have to follow up later. So I would say, follow up with and setting alerts if it goes above 112, since we can probably see a little spike, or if it breaks below $1 or $1.05. Now with BNTC, this is one that also saw a huge spike that I called out during pre-market movers, and it was introduced again by one of our traders. It was on a just steady decline as aftermarket hours and pre-market hours. And although it wasn't a steady decline, we know because it had really good volume that there were going to be solid bounces. And that's ideally what we wanted to identify. We identified the bounce at 344. I called it out for BNTC. I got in at 347. It was above EMA with the TD Ameritrade app, and then ended up hitting highs of about 158, so the resistance, right? Didn't sell at 158. I ended up stop lossing out at 154, and then I locked in like 7 cents worth of profit. Again, not my best trade, but ended up coming up the second time. So when it came back down, hit lows of about 136 and then hit highs of about 165. Therefore, that trade was a lot more worth it. But again, just because I did this trade right here, I ended up just not catching it. And it bounced here twice, right? It hit the support here at 344, hit the support here about 345, and then hit that same resistance at 358, 360. This third time ended up breaking, but then fell right through. And usually when we see, 1 tries, 2 tries, the third time, if it doesn't hold above, then we usually see it bleed all the way down just like it's doing. It identified a new support at 316, and it's been seeing, steady jumps from 316 to 330. But again, it's done 1, 2. This third time, if it doesn't do it, most likely we'll see it now break below the 316 support. And that is it. I traded 3 different stocks, 4 different trades, and then I locked in a little bit over $403 worth of profit with my trades today. But ideally, I didn't do very well. And I told the group right away, I felt like I was chasing stocks throughout the entire day. And my average of profit was 3.33%. Therefore, my profit wasn't very high, right? I did lock in a good amount of money, but with the amount invested wasn't the return that I wanted to see. So after that, I just stepped away from the screen and really just tried to help you guys out as much as I can. Just because I passed my goal again of $250. So I did my deed, and I wanted to see if I could help you guys out any way that I could. But that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's recap. And if you guys have any questions or suggestions, please leave them down in the comments. If you guys want to be a part of TechBud Solutions, again, the link is provided for you down below. And then there's a series of helpful videos here that can answer frequently asked questions within our group, as well as to get you a better understanding on how to get into investing and trading penny stocks altogether. We do upload daily recaps like these every single day, Monday through Friday, to give you guys a better understanding on my best practices and my mistakes that I make in an effort to promote growth. We'd really appreciate if you guys can subscribe and like this video, just to give us a better understanding that we are doing the right thing. Thank you guys again for watching. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and let's make sure that we end this week on a green note. Take care, guys. Baby, don't you let it go to waste. You know we could